is Andy Lipton, and welcome to Leading the Break. My guests today are the head women's basketball coach at Fairfield University, Carly Thibault-DuDonis, and one of her players, grad student Lauren Beach. The story today is about Lauren Beach. I first saw Lauren play a few years ago at Fairfield. I was taken by her constant movement on the court and her hustle. She's been a big part of the Stags the last few years. The past 2 seasons, the Stags won both the MAAC regular season championship and the MAAC tournament championship. Lauren's a grad student who got her undergraduate degree in nursing and is pursuing her graduate degree now in nursing leadership. It's been a rigorous curriculum as an undergrad where she had to take many clinical courses as well as regular courses. In this segment, Coach Carly talks about Lauren and how she's such an ultimate team player. Lauren talks about her goals for her last season on the court, what she's working on. She also talks about what it's like balancing the demands of a rigorous nursing program with the demands of a successful D1 basketball program. She talks about the summer sessions, and she talks about her future goals as a nurse and how she plans to stay active with the game of basketball.
6'1" senior from Midland, Massachusetts, number 15, Lauren Beach. Defense! Defense!
Who's that one? Is that yours? Yeah, Merry Christmas. Thanks for coming, guys.
I wanted to talk to you about Lauren Beach. I noticed she's got another year of eligibility. She's going to be on the team. She's a grad student getting her master's in nursing. I think she got her undergrad in nursing. I've watched her play. I've loved her. I loved her hustle. I loved her, unselfishness. She's all about just movement, hustling. Always thought she could be a bigger part of the team. Talk to me about Lauren.
Lauren is so special in so many ways. We call her Beach for her last name, and she truly has a way about her, not only as a leader, but she sets the standard for what effort, extra possessions, hustle plays, kind of a glue type of player for us. She sets the example for that. We never have to coach her effort and energy. She can be a defensive stopper for us. She gets extra kind of easy chippy buckets by running the floor, cutting to the rim. Like you said, she's always moving. But I think what makes Lauren so special is that she can relate to anybody on the team, anybody on the roster. She's a great leader of her teammates. They trust her, and they know that she's never going to be about herself. She's someone that whatever role has been given to her, presented to her, she's going to take it and maximize those opportunities. She is someone that if she plays 30 minutes, 0 minutes, anywhere in between, is you'll never know how she's feeling inside or how she is worried about herself, or if she doesn't have her best game, she's never going to let her teammates know. It's always going to be team first, and I think it's so hard to find, and she really embodies what it means to be selfless and be about the team first.
And I think you also mentioned she's been the captain the last 2 years. Talk about why you put her in that role.
So over the last 2 years, she's had a captain role, and 2 years ago it was really fun to watch because that was her first year as a captain. And she was our head captain that year, and everyone on the team, had a relationship with her in her own way, and so she was able to really kind of combine and bring everybody together. Whereas we had some leaders on our team that had better relationships with others, and she just did a great job of bringing everybody together. She was a connector, and she's done a great job of again being the standard of team first, being focused on what does our team need at this moment from me, and how do I bring out the best in those around me.
Now, unfortunately, I've been in hospital situations where I've seen nurses who are overworked, dealing with not only the patients, but the family members, friends, and having to go from patient to patient. I know Lauren hasn't made up her mind what kind of setting she'll be a nurse in, but I could see her being a great nurse in a hospital. So I could just see her hustling from patient to patient and being able to deal with all the difficulties that arise in that setting.
I think that's the beautiful thing about sports, and specifically in basketball, is that you are prepared for so many other scenarios. You're used to the urgent nature of sport, And she does an unbelievable job of being able to not only, like you said, hustle from place to place and keep a lot of balls in the air, pun intended with basketball, but she also does a great job of making people feel important. And so, yes, she might be hustling from patient to patient, but I think any person she's with, she makes them feel heard, she makes them feel seen. She can really connect with anybody from anywhere, and so I think she'll have great bedside manner and all of it. In addition to all the skills that she's learned here at Fairfield as a nursing student.
Okay. Any other thoughts, Carly?
No, I think this team would not have seen the success over the last couple of years that we've had without Beach. She's been, the head of the monster as far as I say all the time, and I think I've stolen this quote from other coaches, but a player-led team can be significantly more successful than a coach-led team, and I think Beach has really taken that to heart, to be our leader and to be someone that continues to coach things up, hold standards when coaches aren't in the room, when coaches aren't in the gym. I think she does a great job of really embodying what it means to be a Stag, and we talk about being selfless, tough, accountable, grateful. She lives that every day, and so I think it's really easy to follow her.
Great. Thanks so much, Carly.
Yeah, of course.
Hi, Andy. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. Good.
I don't know if you remember, but a number of years ago, I interviewed after I think it was the Marist game. I think it was senior day,
Yeah.
um, and I was really taken with your game. I just love your hustle, love your movement on the court, constantly moving, and yeah, I kind of kept tabs on you a little bit. I mean, I followed Fairfield a little bit, not so much in person, a number of games.
Mhm.
And so I didn't realize you were coming back for another year. So when I heard that, I said, well, I
Yeah.
really want to
Yeah.
interview Lauren. Um, and I interviewed Coach Carly about you when I was there at
Okay.
the girls basketball camp. I guess
Oh,
it,
cool.
I guess it was last week.
Mhm.
And I interviewed her about you. She was glowing about you, absolutely
Oh,
glowing.
really? She's the
Uh,
best.
and you'll see it when I combine your interview with her interview into one video. Both on the court and off the court. She, really, I mean, she spoke so beautifully about you. So let me start by saying this, or asking this basically. Um, on the court, what are your goals for this upcoming season? Your own personal goals?
My personal goals, I feel like being in the role that I'm in on our team, I always just try to feel out the team that we have for the season and sort of figure out like what my role might be. I'm not ever going to be like the leading scorer on our team, the the highest three-point shooter on our team or anything like that, but I think just like finding out what my team needs from me in that season and then being that player, whether it's, most of the time it's like on the defensive end making plays, doing the little things on the offensive end, just having our motion offense flow and keep the ball moving and stuff like that. It's, I guess, sort of not always the flashiest things, but just filling in the little gaps of like what we need, I would say.
I know you're very valued on that team, but as I kind of kept some tabs. I know you had a few injuries, um, but also coach played you kind of some minutes, a lot, some games, others not so much. Um, Obviously, there's a lot of scoring on the team. People who look to score. Um, any part of you that would say, "Hey, I'd like to score maybe a little bit more. I'd like to maybe have some more plays run for me." Any desire for that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's big. Like everyone on our team has a scorer's mentality because we have a very talented team. Um, and I think for me, it's knowing when to have the scorer's mentality in the right moments, if that makes sense. And so, like knowing what a right shot for me to take is, and knowing when to attack. And then also in this off season, I've been working a lot on finishing specifically inside, like getting to the rim and finishing through contact and things like that. So. I think just not necessarily, I wouldn't say like having specific plays or anything like that, but just being more aggressive at the opportunities that I know that I should be looking to score.
What do you think will give you the opportunity to maybe play more consistent minutes? Is there something that coaches talk to you about, or is it just a function of all the different players on the team and trying to fit everybody in?
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with having a ton of talented players. Our team can play from top to bottom, and we even last season and the season before, we say the best part about our team is that anyone can have a good night on any given night, and Um, I think that that's a really fun way to play for sure. For me, something I've been working on in the off season is my three-point shooting. I feel like that would sort of open my game up, and I don't need to be like, we have what we call a green light shooter, which is like you're shooting any three the second you get a look at the rim. And so I don't necessarily need to be a three-point shooter or a green light three-point shooter, but just being able to pick when it's a good shot for me to take and then be really efficient in making those shots. That's something I've been focusing on a lot.
Gotcha. So let me ask this: what's the summer sessions like? Um, is it a grind? Is it fun? Um, would you rather be home doing something else? What's the summer sessions like for players?
I think it's both. I think it's a grind and I think we make it fun. Our team is really close and so we really enjoy any time that we spend together, whether it's on the court or off the court. We have 8-hour weeks now, obviously, so it's 4 lift and conditioning hours and 4 basketball hours on the court. And so they pack a lot into the 4 hours and they push us as hard as they can for those 4 hours. And then outside of that, we'll grab a partner and go to the gym and shoot, or we usually try to pick as a team, like separate from our coaches, just like as a team, we will get together a couple times a week and play pickup too, just to get to play live more because especially in the beginning of the summer, it's a lot of teaching and reviewing concepts and things like that. And so we aren't necessarily playing up and down for 30 minutes every practice or anything like that. But yeah, I would say we find a way to make the most out of the time that we have, and the summer definitely is a grind. I will say that. Maybe not hours wise, but the workouts themselves are it's a huge time of grinding for us, and I think we try to keep in mind that how we train now and the progress we're making now is gonna translate to March and the end of the season, how we're playing then. And so we try to, even though it seems like, oh man, we're not playing until the fall, the winter, we won't have games. I think we try to keep everything in perspective. Like today matters, and how we step on the court today should be the same as how we step on the court in February and March when we're playing in the MAAC tournament. So,
Gotcha. The now I'm going to get to your career goals in a second, but are you taking classes in July and August or clinical work in July and August?
yeah, right now, this summer so far, I've taken 2 graduate classes. I'm in grad school now, which is still weird to think about. It makes me feel a little bit old compared to the team. But I did a session 1 class, so I finished that at the end of June. And then I've also been in a full summer class, so I started the end of May, and I'm gonna be in that class until August. I actually have that class meets tonight, so we meet every Thursday from like 5 to 9. So it's
So,
not
yeah,
it's nothing crazy during the summer.
but at least it's something to kind of fill the time too. I mean, right?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, we definitely find a way to fill the time. My teammates and I, like whether we go to the beach or we all just hang out at the houses or something like that. But it's nice to have classes too. I didn't have class last summer and it felt like I had a ton of free time outside of basketball and even outside of spending time with the team. So I think it keeps me in my regular routine to have some classes.
Gotcha. Now you got your undergraduate degree in nursing, right? And you're getting your master's in nursing.
Yes, I'm doing nursing leadership.
Okay. So talk about your career goals and talk about some of the clinical work you've done so far.
Yeah, so I've been doing clinicals through Fairfield. So the nursing program at Fairfield, we start doing clinicals the spring of your sophomore year. So pretty much from the spring of my sophomore year until this past spring, so the last 2 years, I would have a clinical rotation, at least one each semester. So each rotation would meet 1 day a week for either 6 weeks or 12 weeks during the semester. Um, and so there are some semesters that I only had one clinical, and then there are some where they're overlapping, and it would be like a full semester clinical with 2 6-week clinicals, and I would be like, I think there's a time I was in 3 days of clinical a week in my junior year, maybe. And so that was definitely, I think clinicals mixed with basketball was the hardest part of nursing school because the classes were definitely challenging, but just the hours put into clinical before going to practice was for sure the hardest part.
Now the nursing leadership program, does that involve clinicals as well?
No.
Okay. So I guess how do you balance both? I mean, what you're doing has have been doing is rigorous. I mean, really rigorous. Very important profession, very serious profession, and at the same time, the demands of your basketball career are very demanding as well. So how do you find that balance? And is it overwhelming at times?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it is overwhelming. I'm not gonna like sit here and tell anybody that it's easy and it's fine and everything. I think for one, it's been all that I've known since I've been in college, if that makes sense. So I don't really I've been so used to it that I don't really know. And in high school, same thing. I had a super busy schedule in high school, and so I didn't really know anything other than having a packed schedule. And I think in that sense, it kind of kept me on track and it kept me in a really good routine. But I will say that I had to learn how to prioritize taking care of myself a little bit more and kind of know my limits and know like, okay, it's probably better for me to just go to sleep tonight instead of studying for another hour. I'll be better for it tomorrow. So just sort of learning like that I can be busy and I can get a lot done, but also having to step back and take care of myself too, because if I'm not feeling my best, whether it's not getting enough sleep or physically my body's not recovering, then I'm going to feel it in all aspects. I'm going to feel it when I'm playing basketball. I'm going to feel it when I'm at clinical. I'm not going to feel like 100% myself. And I've realized that I'll never just be able to like catch up without giving myself a little bit of a break, if that makes sense.
Sure. No, absolutely. I also think sometimes like good distractions are a good thing too, something completely
Yeah.
different, just to get your mind off stuff, and to something fun. Um, so in terms of career goals, is it to be a nurse? Is it to be a nurse practitioner? Is it something else, administration? What are the career goals?
Yeah, so right now at least, I know that I definitely want to work as a nurse. I feel like there's so much in the profession of nursing and so many different routes that you can take it that I think it'll take me maybe, I mean, I might love my first job and want to stick with that forever, but it also could take a little bit of trial in different areas to see what my real passion is. And I know my passion is for nursing in general, but um, the exact specific type of nursing and where I want to be working, I could see myself in a bunch of different settings and trying out a bunch of different places. And so that's definitely just like my biggest goal right now is to find myself a position where I can like really see myself working for a while there and enjoying working there for a while. And then I also do want to try to stay involved with basketball. Um, I've considered once I get settled down, maybe helping to train kids or working with some of my old AAU programs and coaches and things like that. Just because it is scary thinking of being done with basketball one day. I don't want it to just like flip a switch and have basketball out of my life. And so I definitely do want to keep trying to find a balance of having basketball in whatever sense that may look like along with my job as a nurse, for sure.
And by the way, I'm sure there'll be tons of opportunities in a lot of different capacities to still be involved in basketball, without a doubt. I mean, there's just so many things you can do, whether it's even coaching little kids or
Yeah.
training, like you said, or
Yeah.
somehow being involved. It's just making sure you make the time for it.
Yeah.
Um,
100%.
so in terms of the clinical work you've done, I'm assuming you've been in hospital settings, so you've seen what that's
Yes.
like, right?
Yes.
And this is not meant to discourage you. Um, well, let me say this. Unfortunately, I've been in a number of hospital settings with relatives and friends and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's to find a nurse that's empathetic, besides being skilled and patient, is like gold. Is like finding gold. And I'm in New York. I'm in New York. I live in Queens, but the hospitals I've been in are in the city and stuff. And there are times the nurses really they're understaffed. I don't know if you've seen those situations.
Yeah.
And not only and you know this, not only are they dealing with patients, they're dealing with friends, relatives,
Yeah.
other staff members, and trying to juggle. And at times, literally running from bed to bed. But when I think of you in the basketball, I think of someone who can do that, who can
Yeah.
really run
Yeah.
from patient to
Yeah, a
patient,
little bit of
really,
chaos. Yeah.
and handle it, you know. And
Yeah.
when I mentioned that to Coach Carly, she also added, she goes, not just that, but also she'll give each patient the time they deserve, you know. Making sure not to forget the fact that she may be moving from patient to patient, but she'll also be devoting the right amount of time to everybody, which I thought was a beautiful sentiment. Um,
Yeah.
what do you think about working in a hospital?
Yeah, I think it's definitely what you said is true. There are definitely some places that, nurses are getting burnt out or they might be understaffed and things like that, which turns into more of like a organizational problem too. Um, I would say the same thing that I was talking about earlier about just learning what I need in order to take care of myself. They actually teach you in nursing school, not teach you necessarily, but talk about and make a point in nursing school, how important it is to take care of yourselves outside of the hospital or whatever setting you're working in. And so similar to what I was saying earlier, I know that I won't be able to be an empathetic nurse or, want to take the time and be present with my patients if I'm not taking care of myself and knowing my limits outside of the hospital, if that makes sense. And
Yeah,
so I
sure.
think just the
Sure.
being able to be fully present in your job, it starts with how you're taking care of yourself outside of your job. And it's like the same thing with basketball too. Like the way that you carry yourself on the court and the way that you can um, play and your conditioning and like all those little things, it all depends on what you're doing off the court and how you're taking care of your body and your mind and everything. And so I think there's a lot of parallels between that I've definitely learned during school.
Gotcha. And so is the master's program a 1 year or a 2 year program?
Um, the one that I'm in right now is a 2-year program, but I think the way that the curriculum is laid out, it was for part-time in my understanding. And so I'm trying to get as many of the credits pretty much done in the next year as I can, but I might not be able to get them all done before the spring or by the end of spring. And so I would just have to finish up a couple classes after, but we'll see. It's sort of just, we'll see how much I can get through this year.
I hear you. I mean, if that's the case and you still have to take credits, would it be online? Would you come back to Fairfield? How would that work?
It would depend on the classes. So I know a good amount of graduate classes, even for nursing, are online. One of my classes this summer already was online. So it would just depend on, what the classes are themselves. But either, I mean, whatever I would have to do, if I had to come back here to finish a class, then I would have to come back here. So,
I gotcha. Well, listen, I really wish you the best of luck this year on the court and
oh,
then
thank
and your career goals. I'm really hoping you get more minutes. Uh,
you.
I, I
We'll
just
see.
I just feel like you know, I, obviously it's coach's decision. There's other players on the team, but I know what you give on the court from what I've seen, and so that's my hope for you. And maybe have some games where the ball's going in the hoop a lot.
Yeah, I know for sure. We've been working on that a lot. So
Uh,
hopefully coming soon.
Really appreciate it and really wish you well.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was nice to see you.
All right, good to see you. Thanks, Lauren.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye bye.